prices are steadily increasing, and if you're just working a regular job, or you're not getting any other sources of income, you're just going to be left in the dust. Because I don't think they're going to increase wages anytime soon.
One time for the team that's gon' hustle for the green. All we know is grind till the dough come. This debate that radio show, we controlling the globe and we second to no one. Every time we emerge, we putting that work in. Bank that, do it for the culture. Putting on for the city that's 24/7. And we showing love like we supposed to. And we keep making moves by coastal. Know those suckers didn't believe, but I told you. Bank that about to be a household name. And bank that mean we about more change. You don't even know just how I really get. You're rocking with the best, so tuned in where you better be. Plus we getting fancy like Nancy on every single day of the week. And chopping game like a Cherokee, ballin' like Odell, tryna step more meal. Networking every way is about to be a movie. Gotta go big, it's the only way to do it. It's a conglomerate, we getting to it. Plus we got heat for the streets while you puffin' on the cook shop leaf. Riding out on the interstate, we got indies and majors. We international players, all about getting paid. Make sure to tune in and tap in with the movement, cause it's about to go down. Shout out Discover, this captain of the mothership. If you ain't know, then you know now. We about to get bang down. That radio show.
I can't stand you sometimes.
Alright, y'all, you tuned into another episode of Big That Radio Show, and I have our guest in the building with us. Now I'm off camera, as y'all can see. I have Coach Spivey along with his son Jordan, who you run the FSI courses. You're an educational consultant. You was a teacher at, would you say, Northeast for quite a time. So give us a little background as far as, like, you know, because the stuff that you have, the FSI courses, is based in helping academics and bridging that gap of information that students are supposed to learn, and what they're supposed to actually show on tests and stuff like that, right? So you decided, actually this is a multi-pronged question, because I look at it as you did a couple things, right? One, you saw there was a gap in educational achievement. You could have just, done something to where you could have just, addressed that issue. Correct. But you took it a step further. You made this really detailed and comprehensive toolbox that teachers can use and the educational system can use to help bridge that gap. But you also turned it into a business.
Correct.
So why surpass just the initial problem and decide to even take it into a business?
That's a great question. But first of all, thank you for having us, having me and my son. And it all started with seeing there being a need there, and there was this gap, because we would go on YouTube, and I would go on YouTube to show videos to my students and show videos to my son, and I noticed that there wasn't a lot of representation out there. So a lot of the videos that my students would see, they couldn't quite understand the people, or they didn't break it down in a way that they could understand.
Yeah.
So, and I remember and me and Jordan, it honestly started with my son. My son used to actually make little short videos with him playing with his dolls, Super Mario dolls and everything like that. And I never forget, I made a comment. I said, Jordan, people don't watch stuff like that. You're up here making videos about dolls and all this, people don't watch stuff like that. And I never forget, it was almost like I was crushing my son's spirit. But I remember I looked at one of his videos, and I think his videos had like 2.8 thousand, views, or 5,000 views or whatever. And I said, wow. And that's when I really discovered, like, wow, people actually go on YouTube and look at different things. So, fast forward, I said, why not start making educational science videos? I said, because I teach science, my kids, they really like how I break it down. I have my son is growing up, having to go to school. It would be dope if we had our own, science video platform. So now, our first videos, in our mind, at the time, they were great.
Thought they were good.
Yeah.
I had my hat on. You know, my son Jordan was about like this tall then. He's way taller than me now.
Yeah.
But you know, we was making videos on balancing chemical equations and everything. And we was in our YouTube studio where it was our office back then. I had my board on the wall and I'm writing down stuff and breaking it down and said, yeah, man, everybody's gonna love this. And we put our videos out. It might have like eight views. You know, a couple of views I told my mom and daddy.
Yeah.
So that was some of the views. And then me and Jordan, we watched it a couple more times just to see if people was looking. And so, but anyway, you know, we kind of progressed from there. But it was very important that our kids see people that look like them actually taking an invested interest in education and taking a step further by making, you know, videos to break down the content and material in ways that they could relate to, in ways that they can understand.
Yeah.
And so we progressed from there. And, you know, our videos, we started increasing the quality of our videos more and more. And the kids would give us feedback like, hey, why don't y'all try doing this? Why don't y'all try doing that? Ooh, add some music to this, do this and do that. And so it just kept kind of grew organically because they was giving us a natural feedback and suggestions that we needed to make our product better.
Yeah.
And so over the years, we realized like, okay, we have all these videos. We can actually take these videos and, you know, I was telling my son earlier, people always ask for permission. A lot of times people ask for permission to do things. You know, permission to be great. Like back in the day, in the industrial age, you needed permission to get to the next level because this person had to like you or you had to put in this amount of work. But now, you don't need permission to be great.
No, you don't.
You can just literally go out and start making your own videos. So I said, you know what, son, let's start making our own online courses. You know, and so he was like, no, okay, Dad. And so we literally started building the online courses from scratch. So we started making our own activities, typing up our own quizzes, putting our videos in there. And, you know, it took some time to actually put all that together because, you know, several years.
Yeah.
But now we're at a point where we have something that we're confident in that we can produce or put out there to the public where people can actually understand, comprehend the material and actually get a lot of meaning out of it.
That's what's up. Jordan, I got a question specifically for you.
All right.
So, in talking with your dad the other day, you know, I really could see where the passion is, right? He presents this opportunity to you, right? And like he said, it took like, what, 4 years to come up with the finished product? 4 years ago, what was your mindset as far as like achieving that goal? Did you see it as something that was like, you know, just a passion at the time, or were you actually like, okay, I really got to dedicate like X amount of years to be able to perfect this?
I would say, I guess I would probably say it was both. It was a passion, but at the same time, I knew that it would take a lot of dedication to get to the point that we're at now. So it's like, I knew it was fun. I knew it would be fun to do it, but it's like at the same time, I knew I had to have some seriousness about it as well.
So how do you guys split like roles and stuff, right? Like who gets to do what or who has what responsibility?
Actually, Jordan's the one that actually, like, as far as YouTubing the channel, he gives me all of my suggestions, and he's the one that say, hey, Dad, let's add thumbnails to the videos. Because a lot of stuff I don't know about because, you know, YouTube wasn't quite my era. Not saying that I'm like old or anything like that.
No, I get it.
But like Jordan, he'll, you know, and he grew up with it, so he's like, Dad.
I've been on YouTube for so long, and matter of fact, I have YouTube videos that I uploaded on probably near a decade-year-old channel that I used to have, and what is it? But pretty much, I uploaded videos on there. So pretty much for the past decade, I've been just studying how YouTube works. I've been studying the algorithm, how thumbnails work, how pretty much if you have a vibrant, colorful, attractive thumbnail, then that makes people want to click on your video more. Along with the title, if you have a good title for your videos, that also makes people say, this seems interesting, let me click on it.
So what's the response being on both of y'all's end as far as like the network of people? Because now, you know, y'all have content and stuff that people can go and watch and look at it. So what's the feedback, man?
The feedback that we get, because like on our and on our studio, YouTube studio channel, that's where you get all your comments at. And it's been overwhelmingly great. You know, people say, you know, we need more of this, we need more representation, because, you know, sadly, it's not every day that you see a father and son, especially a black father and son, making educational content. And, you know, with the type of energy and passion that we do. And so they, you know, a lot of people feel like, you know, there's need to be more representation of this, more of this going on, so our kids can take an invested interest in, you know, really respect and value, you know, their education.
Not to mention our range, or the amount of time, or the time range of our videos is usually between 5 minutes and 10 minutes. So it's like, you don't have 10 minutes to watch a YouTube video about educating yourself for a subject that you might be taking at a certain point in time. And it's like, so usually whenever you look at, what is it, you search up a YouTube video like plant cells or animal cells, it's like a 15-20 minute video. It's like a pretty long time. Whereas we'll make a video, it's 5 minutes long, it's 10 minutes long.
And they're still getting the same fundamental information, or it's been explained to them in a way to where they can understand it and comprehend it way quicker than somebody just, you know, like trying to give them that information, but they're not necessarily understanding because they started way up here as opposed to bringing it down.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's kind of like, what is it? You gotta speak their language, which what I mean by that is pretty much you can't just make a certain science video and just talk about pretty much, you can't use terms that people have never heard of if they're just trying to find the basis of the subject that you're talking about. Like you gotta, or what's it, break it down to the basics, you gotta use words that you know they can understand and comprehend.
It's like, I like to explain, it's like trying to get someone on the elevator. And, you know, I watched some videos, and some people are really great at breaking down material and content, but I watched a couple of videos where they're already on the 3rd floor. And, you know, they start on the 3rd floor in the video, and I got kids watching. Some of my kids are on the 1st floor, some of my kids are in the basement. And they're looking like they have no clue what's going on. 10 or 15 minutes of time just went by, and they're just like kind of clueless. So
yeah, people, if they don't understand, or if someone is talking about something that they don't understand, or they're using a whole bunch of extreme terms that they never heard of before, their mind tends to blank out. Like they tend to just kind of tune out what the person is saying, and they'll just kind of space out a little bit. So it's like they don't understand what's going on.
Like we was making a cancer video, you know, and the word metastasize. Most people haven't heard of the word metastasize unless, you know, maybe you're a cancer patient and, you know, the doctor's been talking to you and showed you some diagrams of it. So when we throw out that word metastasize, we have to break down what that means and then show a visual of what that means, because a lot of people are visual learners. And so now that we've given you access to it, you can get on board and understand and move forward with the content instead of being stuck on that word metastasize. And so, you know, our goal is to break things down at the most basic level to get everyone or most people on board. Then we can rise them up to that accelerated level of learning.
So what's the, do y'all share a fundamental vision for this? You know, 'cause y'all both are like, you know, it's like partners, right?
Correct.
That's how I look at it. And are y'all both aligned to what you want to achieve?
I would say yes. And so, because our mission and vision is very simple. Our mission and vision is basically to take our kids, struggling learners, from, you know, it could be struggling learners, or it could be gifted, it could be honors, accelerated learners, but learners from all walks of life. And accelerate their knowledge and actually deepen their knowledge and depth of knowledge on topics and contents. Because if you look at it nowadays, it's not about just teaching the material, covering it. It's the depth of knowledge that the kids need to know. Because when you was in elementary school, photosynthesis, you just talked about carbon, sunlight, carbon dioxide, sunlight, water.
Exactly.
You get glucose and you get oxygen. But then you get to high school and they're talking about the light dependent and light independent reactions of photosynthesis. You get into cellular respiration, you know, at first it was like, we take in food and oxygen and we make carbon dioxide, water, and ATP. You get in high school, they're talking about glycolysis, Krebs cycle, electron transport chain. So our mission and vision is very simple. It's to increase our students' depth of knowledge so they can be accelerated at their next level of learning. Because one issue that we noticed was that, and nationwide, people are going off to college, but they're not prepared.
Mm-hmm.
So they're having to take remedial classes, and these are classes that they don't get a credit for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they have to pay for it. They don't get a
Yeah.
credit for it because the high school did not do a good enough job of preparing them.
Yeah. And then it puts them in college longer, and then they look at that and they're like, because, you know, sometimes kids go to college, and what I've seen and witnessed from my own experience, they're going because the parents want them to do. But they're looking at it like a chore.
Correct.
So the longer they're there, it deters them from wanting to complete. Because the whole point is to go to school incomplete. And to
Exactly.
say that you have this, you know, this completion, that way you can put it on a resume and, you know, get the job or, you know, start your own thing. And, you know, that's why I tell my kids anyway. They have two options. They can go to college or they can start a business.
Exactly.
One or the other.
And I was telling Jordan, I said, Jordan, you are the more evolved person of me.
Mm-hmm.
More evolved version of me. Evolution means that
Mm-hmm.
you're greater. You're taking everything from the past, but you've evolved to a point
Mm-hmm.
where you can exist in a different environment
Mm-hmm.
and live and survive longer.
Mm-hmm.
If he's the exact copy of me
Mm-hmm.
and the world is constantly changing,
Mhm.
that means he's not getting any better. He hasn't evolved. He's actually de-evolved.
Yeah.
So I was telling Jordan this morning, I want you to be greater than me.
Yeah.
So I don't want you to, because, you know, most people is like, we're trying to use a system that worked for our parents
Mm-hmm.
and trying to apply it to our living today.
Yeah, that is
But-
hard.
And the thing is, times have changed.
Exactly.
And if we're not changing with the times, that's what makes people go extinct.
Mhm.
Things go extinct.
Yeah, you go obsolete.
Yeah, you go
Exactly.
obsolete. So if you have a mindset from the past and you
Mhm.
still trying to, because, you know, our parents could work 20, 30 years, the job take care of you, you get this pension plan, you retire, you walk off into the sunset.
Uh-huh.
You know, my mom and dad are retired and they get up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the day, but they was living in a system
Mhm.
that, you know, made that possible. Well, times have changed so much today,
Mhm.
and if you look at the industrial age, the technology age, the techno information age,
Mhm.
all these ages, and it's crazy because the time between changes and shifts are getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
They are.
So by the time kids go to college, the job that they went to college for may be about obsolete.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, how do you understand what's going on in the present,
Mm-hmm.
and then prepare yourself for the future?
Mm-hmm.
So that was my biggest job with Jordan, like help him understand what's in the present and prepare him for the future.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll have the flexibility to
Exactly. Adapt to whatever the environment is.
correct.
Do you see that? Do you see that in real time? Like all the prep that your dad is doing, but then also me sitting here agreeing with him
Yeah.
with all the stuff, and that, you know, times have changed. Technology, like I was around when the cell phone was invented, right? I was around when the internet was invented, and it became like as far as public domain. So I got to see all these technological changes, and I actually had this conversation with my wife earlier. I think it was yesterday or even today. So I saw there's a study that was done a few years back by a financial group. Your generation is going to, like, you can't live off of just a job anymore, right?
Gotta have some type of side or something.
Yeah, because you're entering a world where you start your professional career. You necessarily won't have it at the salary that you probably think you should have, but also the cost of living will have risen tremendously. And it's just going to be hard to be labeled as like an independent person unless you have multiple streams of revenue. They say that if you do not have multiple streams of revenue, you'll get left behind, even working a regular 40-hour-a-week job. Do you feel that or see that or can sense that?
Yeah, but I definitely do see it because with inflation being a thing, and I've seen prices go, they've increased tremendously. Like, what is it? We bought our house, how many? I think about a decade ago. It's like 100,000 something. Now our house is increased by.
Is it 220?
Yeah, meaning that over the span of time, ever since he got his house, the price for our house has increased by, I think,
Close to 100. Yeah, close to 100,000.
Mm-hmm.
meaning that everything else is done the same thing. Where it's like you can't. Back in the days, cars used to be 15,000, something lower, and then nowadays cars are like 20,000 and higher.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much, I guess my whole point that I'm trying to make here is prices are steadily increasing, and if you don't have any, if you're just working a regular job, you're not getting any other sources of income, you're just going to be left in the dust. Because I don't think they're going to increase wages anytime soon. At least.
No, there's always a fight with that when it comes to, employers, big companies. It's actually the big companies.
Because as they increase the wages, other companies will just keep on increasing prices, because as they increase the wages, other people will keep buying the product, and to prevent that product from, going out of stock, they'll have to increase the prices so that they can keep up with the demand of the product.
And then there's actually, I saw this study the other day that a minimum wage now, I think in the state of Georgia is like $7.25. Even minimum wage back in the 1940s, 50s, 60s, and 70s was way lower, but the value of the money was higher.
Yeah.
So therefore, you could actually live off of, and if you were to
Purchasing
use
power.
the purchasing power was greater. Purchasing power now with minimum wage sucks.
Yeah.
And I get it. You know what I'm saying? Different jobs, different functionality, and all that or whatever. But at the same time, you can't expect to live off of that.
I was bagging groceries in 2000 at
Mhm.
Kroger, and I was getting paid $7.25 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And you mean to tell me in 2022
Mm-hmm.
it's still $7.25?
Mm-hmm.
That's an
I
increase.
was $7.50 still.
It
Still
went
not
up
a big
more.
difference. But again, purchasing power
Correct.
is a whole lot less.
It's like, the pay rate for working at Kroger is still the same, but the rent for houses has gone up by a whole much. Like the rent for a moderate house nowadays,
It's
it's
my
like,
mortgage or the rent.
well, I'm just talking about an apartment, I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, for an apartment, it's about $1,000 for like a decent looking apartment now. If a mortgage will have.
And it's because it's so many different things. Because like, especially with our kids nowadays, like our kids live in like, I want it now, I have to have it now. And that's how their mindset works. But it's like a lot of our kids lack delayed gratification.
Mm-hmm.
And the most dedicated, the people that are usually the most successful, they understand delayed gratification. And what that means is, I'm going back to my YouTube mode now. But delayed gratification.
I get it.
Yeah, delayed gratification, that means I understand that I'm going to put in work now. It's not going to come today, tomorrow, next week. It may be down the road sometime, but I'm actually able to put in the work, and I know that I'm not going to get immediate expectation or immediate return on investment. So a lot of our kids, or we have adults that don't understand that concept, so they're not willing to work on something that's going to take them long lengths of time to build and grow.
Even with like education and even with science based, different, I can see where the different industries you would go into there, like, doctors and researchers and, CDC, all those type of industries that need that type, even pharmaceutical, all that. That's a delayed gratification type situation where you're putting in a lot of work to eventually get to that pinnacle of success and, for what you're trying to do. How does this align with what you want to do with your life, or what you aspire to do?
I would say, I guess delayed gratification for me would be knowing that it's going to take probably a couple years for me to get my IT degree. But I know once I get it, then I have to pretty much plant a base for me so that way I can still work for myself, get paid a decent amount of money. But I understand that will most likely take some time, but I'm willing to.
And so the most, and Jordan learned this, I guess kind of learned this concept very early on, because every month we do our monthly expenditures. So we do our monthly finances.
I love the fact that you just said that. Every month you do your monthly expenditures. That's one of the things, and I want you to finish your thought too. That's one of the things that I do not get to hear from parents talking to children about money. If you learn how money and the way that it works, you'll be fine.
Correct.
But if you don't learn it, and you have to learn it in your 20s or 30s or whatever, it's going to take you harder to build. It's going to take you longer to build. But
Well, it was things I was doing in my teens and my 20s and stuff. Everybody says, well, my kids are not going to do this because I'm, and then more times not, people don't teach their kids like, hey, don't do this, don't do that. But, or they'll tell the kids what not to do, but not show them what to do. So with Jordan, we have a notebook. We get a notebook for every year. Just a simple black notebook. We get our tabs. And every month we do our needs and wants. We'll put our needs at the top of the blank white sheet of paper, and then we draw a line and put our wants at the bottom. And me and Jordan are walking around the house. A lot of times Jordan will do the needs now. So we'll walk around the house and see what toiletries we need. You know, do we need toilet tissue? Do we need deodorant? And, you know, we write those things down, you know, and then we'll look at our wants. And it's funny because when we bought our house, we had wants from 2013 that we just now got in 2018, 2019. So there's a delayed gratification. But Jordan understands that we put it on paper. It might not happen right then and there, but since we said we we're going to do it eventually down the road, we got some things now that we can just finally check off. That we put on the paper. So we do our needs and wants, then we do our allocated spending plan. And you know, I learned, you know, Dave Ramsey, huge Dave Ramsey fan. But allocated spending plan, we're spending all of our money on paper before the month gets there. So each one of our dollars, we understand, like, you know, hey, this goes to this goes to that. You know, we know that every month we got $200 to spend on groceries, you know, on food items, $100 to spend on like juices, drinks, or whatever. And you know, even for our toiletries, we got $100 to spend on toiletries, and you know, gas in the car and vehicles. But it gives us a lot of peace because now we're not running around just scrambling, doing things with our money and not knowing where it's going. And then we look up at the middle of the month, we're like, dang, where'd all the money go? We know exactly where, you know, most of the money went.
Every functional system going on.
That makes me so happy that you're doing that. Do you understand the privilege that you're in right now, or the advantage that you have over your peers? Just learning that.
I can't really name any kids that I've known I can't really name any kids that I've ever known that after parents sit them right beside them and have a piece of paper showing them how much each bill costs and the amount that they get paid a month, and then how much they have left after they pay all their bills and all their needs.
Like Jordan, at the beginning, before this month got here, what was we doing in the studio?
Pretty much financing.
And you had your calculator.
Yeah.
You had your calculator, and he's, you know, writing stuff down, and you know, I'm paying some of the bills, paying a lot of the bills early. He's writing it down, and he's just subtracting on the calculator. All right, Dad, we got this much left. Mom, we got this much left. And then he's actually, okay, we have this much amount of money at the end of the month. Now let's go to our wants. Let's look at our wants. And you know, and the good thing about Jordan, he's not an expensive kid. Man, he's not expensive at all. He doesn't. He has a lot of value for himself. So he doesn't have to wear the name brand or this or that to get value for himself. Because one, he's got loving parents. You know, two, you know, he understands that his value doesn't come from what he wears or what he does. His value comes from what he gives to the world. You know. And so we do that on a monthly basis like clockwork. And so he's been able to see things build and grow over time. So.
Man, I feel y'all touched my heart today. No, because I love hearing stuff like that, and I know that it exists or whatever, but I do not get to run across it like as much as I want. All right. So you're going to college in August, and you're going to get introduced into the world, right? And I bet you're going to run into a lot of other freshmen who are like you're light years ahead of. You're probably end up realizing that you're probably on more par with some of the juniors and seniors that are about to graduate. Because they've been able to learn those lessons along the way that you've been taught already. So about time you graduate, you'll already have it in your head to where you'll have your plan set up to where once you graduate, you ain't got to worry about a job because you've already secured it. Doing like your junior or senior year, you know, doing internships or whatever the case may be. But you're set up for a level of success to go out into the world and to actually compete for what you want, as opposed to trying to play catch up like a lot of people.
And see, I owe a huge debt of gratitude to my parents. My mother was the one that taught me a pair of J's can't make you money. A pair of Jordans, they won't make you money. She said, and you know, my mom, she worked with computers, so she's the one that got me into computers early. She said, you can get on a computer and make money from a computer. And so, you know, I remember having a CD burner, a DVD burner back in the day, and my computers have actually made me so much money. And so,
which is why I'd rather invest into a computer way more than I would invest into clothes. Not saying that I would just go around just without any clothes, of course. I mean, I of course buy some, but I wouldn't buy the most expensive pair of shoes, the most expensive pair of pants, the most expensive shirt possible. I would just buy something, get enough to, or walk around.
No, I get that. Because Sam Walton, the founder of Walmart, right?
Mm-hmm.
People didn't realize who he was. He could walk into any Walmart store and he looks like a regular person. Have on his little jeans, flannel shirt, and hat. Now, managers or district managers or whatever, they didn't know who he was because they would have access to, what it looks like and all that stuff. And they'd be frantic and stuff like that because he still, prior to his passing and stuff, he used to just walk into Walmart just to make sure that the company runs from the vision that he created. And that's what you have to do sometimes, surprise. But any other person, they have a conversation with him, won't even know they're sitting there talking to a freaking multi-millionaire, billionaire at that time, whatever. And that's in the 90s. And Walmart was still huge back then too. So, I'm like, that's
See, my mom,
the best way to be.
And my mom, she taught me that side. My dad taught me 3 things. He taught me structure, accountability, and responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
He said if a man doesn't have structure to his life, he's going to be chaotic, he's going to be out of order.
Mm-hmm.
Things are just going to be happening,
Mm-hmm.
out of his control.
Yeah.
If he lacks accountability,
He'll never grow.
He'll never grow because he'll always point the finger at everyone else except himself and say, hey, what are the things that I need to work on?
Mm-hmm.
That's my faults. What are the things I need to work on?
Mm-hmm.
And then responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
I'm held responsible for
Mm-hmm.
getting these things done.
Yeah.
So my father instilled that in me, and it's made huge dividends. It's like that tripod, it's like a 3-legged chair.
Mm-hmm.
If you lack any one of those 3, structure, accountability, responsibility, the chair falls.
Mm-hmm.
And I instilled that into Jordan. And I remember Jordan being little, trying to make excuses for that. I said, no, son, that's on you.
Mm-hmm.
That is your fault. This is something you are going to fix this.
Mm-hmm.
Fix it. So he, and he had structure. He learned the accountability piece.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so things happened. He said, well, it either happened because a lot of people, and I've noticed, sad to say, we got quite a few people that lack accountability in the world today.
Mm-hmm.
Things happen either because we did or we did not do certain things.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
And people that, you have grown adults that grow up, they lack accountability.
Mm-hmm.
So nothing's ever their fault. It's always someone else. They're always the victim.
Mm-hmm.
And so as a victim, you can never grow because if you can't see that things are a result of something that you did or did not do, you won't be able to make the changes.
No, you won't.
Because you assume that I am perfect, I did nothing wrong, it's everyone else. So that accountability piece is huge.
It is.
And then holding himself responsible, he understands for me to the freshman orientation, we was talking about that this morning, and we've already got a freshman orientation, but then he went back again and said, hey, Dad, I saw other days where we can do freshman orientation and everything. So he has that structure, accountability, responsibility piece, and I think that's something that goes lacking in society today.
Yeah, so I know if I'm not checking in on my college stuff and getting it done myself, then well, who else can do it?
Yeah, and then it's your life too.
Yeah.
This is your choice, your life, your decisions.
I can't really depend on somebody else to pretty much take care of my life or control my life. Can't really.
I love it. Okay, so back to the FS. I love the sidebar conversations, by the way. The FSI courses. So where do y'all plan to go towards? Because right now you're in science based, so like biology, things of that nature, science. Where do y'all see? Do y'all plan on expanding into mathematics and all the other STEM areas or?
So absolutely. And with FSI courses, it's one of those things that it's grown organically for us, but the biggest thing is having people that specialize in these areas. So when you say going into math, bringing someone on board that can specialize in math, one, that enthusiasm, that excitement, that engagement. You can't mimic that, you can't fake it, it just has to be present.
Yeah.
So, I'm getting excited now talking about it.
I can see it.
Yeah, people really have to feel that, they feel like, man, this person loves what they do. When Jordan makes the videos, I love it because he does all these hand motions and stuff like that, and the kids be like, Jordan doing it. I say, cause he's excited, he loves what he's doing. So bringing people on board that have the right vision in mind, because at the end of the day, it's all about improving our kids. It's all about our kids at the end of the day. So having a person in math and English and in social studies that can come on board with the same passion and enthusiasm, and we can expand out to them. So, as of now, we're starting out with the biology, starting out with the physical science and environmental science, because, that's what we know. And so in the future, absolutely.
That's what's up. Well, I know y'all busy gentlemen and stuff like that, and y'all got stuff y'all have to do, but for everybody who's going to watch the video, let them know what's the best route in getting in contact with y'all if they want to learn more about the business, if any people have contacts out there within the school system, education system, whatever the case may be.
Oh, and I wanted to add this, why, I was thinking, why would somebody choose FSI courses? So why FSI courses? So I was thinking, we have a lot of first and second year teachers that are entering education. And so a lot of time, they don't have the content knowledge or the depth of knowledge to be able to teach our kids, but teach them, give them a full education. So now you have first and second year teachers, they're transitioning from other careers or, just fresh out of college. So now we actually have a platform set in place, and then we actually come in and do trainings with the teachers that expand their depth of knowledge, help them learn a lot more of the material, so when they teach it to the kids, they can be confident teaching it to the kids.
Exactly.
And so we have the video notes, we have the interactive activities, we actually have teacher playlists. So say if you only know beginning level material, the playlists are already set for you for beginning, developing, and you can push into proficient and distinguished levels. So if this is your first or second year, we still got you covered.
Yeah.
And then, you look at us coming out and doing monthly visits with you, and then, all right, let's work on this topic, let's work on this concept. You don't see a lot of other companies doing that, or I don't know of any companies that are doing that, because they're more it's almost like they care more about how many subscribers we have, how many people we have, because it's their end dollar. So they're looking at the money.
Yeah.
And so you might have someone come out once or twice, but they represent the company, but they're not engaged in the content of the material. They're just making sure that you're following, you're following the plan, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. But it's as far as investing in the teachers and the learners, making sure that they understand and get it, and how can we improve them, how can we improve our system so to make it better for them. You don't see that.
Yeah.
And last time I came, I showed you our workbook that we did.
Oh yeah, like I said, it's fascinating. Like any of that, any pictures you want me to put, stuff like that, just email it to me. I'll shoot you my email and all that. That way I can incorporate it into the video and all that. Cause I'm gonna go through the website, put some stuff from there on there as well. But like I said, it is very well in depth, very comprehensible. You could tell that you worked on it for years. It's a very thought out process, and I think it's a really great tool, especially for, like you said, teachers who are young in their careers and who are transitioning from other careers. Because when you get into teaching, you have to learn that industry.
Correct.
Just like you have to learn in the other industry, and they're going to need all the help that they can get, because it's not easy to be able to do that type of job.
Correct. And this is something that we've been building. I did 6 years. I've been in education for 15 years. So this is not something I've been sitting outside the classroom building. I was building it, we were building it while in the classroom. So the kids are actually going through the activities, they're going through the quizzes, they're going through the videos, the video notes and everything like that. And we're actually able to look inside the kids' heads. How do they best learn?
Yeah.
Most places or most companies can't say that, because they may come in their classroom, do a study or look in there 1-2 weeks. Oh, okay, yeah, we got what your kids need, and more times than not, they've already put something together.
Yeah.
And they might make 1 or 2 tweaks. It's like this right here was actually built inside the classroom.
Exactly.
Not outside.
So it's customized for the kids.
Customized for the kids, exactly. And so our job is to just take teachers and students away from their pain points. And since being in the classroom, we know what the pain points are. We know what they look like. Now let's create a solution to remove you from your pain, so you can get to your pleasure.
Yeah.
And so instead of creating anxiety in people, we create anticipation in people, because you're excited. You're like, dang, okay, they got this platform. They've been doing this. They're actively engaged. They're involved. So now people are anticipating getting FSI courses now.
Yeah.
And so with that being said, I'm sorry I get passionate.
No. I get it. Like I said, I love. I can see it. It's all there.
To see our kids really grow and learn, develop, and they see people that look like them. And I don't know of any other online courses platform that like that right there. But I know we've put in a lot of work to produce a quality product. And so that delayed gratification piece, is huge. And we hear people say, man, y'all are gonna make it big, y'all gonna do this, y'all gonna do that. But since we've had delayed gratification so long, we are not expecting things that happen overnight.
No, I definitely want people to like know about y'all, and that's the whole point for the platform. So Jordan, if you want to, I'm sure you got all the social media handles and stuff like that ready, or how people can contact y'all.
Yeah. Well, we have a business card, but I guess. I guess we gotta put it in front of the camera.
All right, so let's.
You just say it, say it in front of the camera, because I'm gonna put it in there anyway, but it just helps reiterate.
So we have 4 different platforms. We're 3 educational platforms, but we have fathersoninnovations.com. That's actually a resource page for teachers to go to and get science resources. As a matter of fact, we have the whole year laid out for them, just in case they just need a couple of resources. We have.
So I guess this is our website link, so fsicourses.net website, and this is our phone number you can reference from. Then here goes our email address, fsicourses.net@yahoo.com. And then here goes a QR code you can scan, and that'll also take you to our website.
And so we have our Coach Spivey Science YouTube channel, where our proud channel. We even have all of our old videos on there, so now you can see the growth over the years. And then we have fsicourses.net, like my son just talked about. And then we even have FSI Builds, because shameless plug, me and my son, we build furniture. So we build customized furniture. So we say, hey, let's do fsibuilds.com as well. So 4 different ways you can see our content materials.
There we go. I'm just sitting there looking at the Coach Spivey Science. I think that's some of the videos I was watching. But gentlemen, I definitely appreciate it. Thank you for telling your story. Because I love hearing about innovation like this, because one, I see all the stats and stuff like that as far as like black-owned businesses and blah 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 and blah blah blah, and we don't really get to highlight the innovation pieces that we do, or the fact that we're in these spaces.
Correct.
It's just that people just don't know about them, because we have plenty of black-owned businesses. They just don't get the recognition that they deserve.
Absolutely.
So thank you. I'm gonna definitely put in, like I said, all the stuff, the links and all that, whatever, so people can go through, and when I get done editing all that, also when I upload it, I'm gonna make sure I tag y'all too. If there's a a motto, or something that y'all like to pass along, or any last words?
We said a couple of things. What do we say in our videos?
Say,
you better keep going.
It's not over
until you win. And then another thing we say every morning, our words of affirmation to each other every morning. And I say, Jordan, things are gonna do what?
Go our way.
If we what?
Put in the work.
Put in the work.
This was things are always going to grow always if we put in the work.
Things are going to go our way.
Go our way if we put in the work.
Yeah, so we have shirts, and it says things are going to go my way. And people, being arrogant, because I told Jordan early on, people are good at whatever they put their time into. Whatever you put your time into, that's what you're going to be good at. So things will go your way if you put in the work into whatever you put your time into.